Okay, it's time to buckle up. Today we have some, very corrupt news coming out of Washington, D.C. Having been up there with Ashley, we saw some of this stuff up close and personal. As you know, 4 American service members tragically died earlier in a drone strike in the escalating war with Iran. Now it's up to 13 different deaths. The attack, which targeted U.S. forces stationed in the region, marked one of the most serious moments of the conflict so far and has renewed questions about America's growing involvement in the war. Families across the country are now mourning those losses. 13 different families are mourning those losses.
War is hell. War is chaos. And as we saw yesterday with the tragic crash of our KC-135 tanker, bad things can happen. American heroes, all of them. And as I have with all of them, as we have, we will greet those heroes at Dover, and their sacrifice will only recommit us to the resolve of this mission. But war in this context and in pursuit of peace is necessary.
And as the conflict unfolds overseas, attention is also turning back to Washington. Why would that be? Because according to financial disclosures, a Democrat member of Congress made a significant stock investment in a defense contractor shortly after the war began. She sought to profit on the deaths of Americans. It is now being reported that the Democrat representative, Kelly Morrison from Minnesota, of course it's Minnesota, might I add, she purchased $50,000 worth of stock in a defense startup called Saronic Technology. She purchased $50,000 of their stock. The purchase happened 9 days after the start of the Iranian conflict. And according to disclosure filings, it was reviewed that Saronic Technologies is a company that develops autonomous military vessels. And according to one report from Notice, the company already holds a $392 million contract with the U.S. Navy. So with Americans dying in battle, there are politicians who are trying to profit from the situation. It is clearly war profiteering, and it is truly, in my mind, disgusting. Joining me today is insider trading expert Ross Givens. And according to him, this trade from Representative Morris is just the tip of the iceberg. Ross has spent nearly a decade tracking congressional and corporate insider trades legally, ethically, and in plain sight. In Ross's previous life, he was the VP of Asset Management at J.P. Morgan. He's no stranger to this kind of stuff. In fact, Ross is hosting a free live online training event on Wednesday, March 25th at 3 p.m. Eastern, where he'll show you exactly how everyday investors can follow these insider trades for themselves. The link is in the description, or you can go to insidertradeswithbarry.com. And when you register, you'll also receive his latest insider trade alert for free. Free. Doesn't cost you anything. Anytime you can get knowledge for free, take it. And this report is complete with a full write-up explaining who's buying and exactly why he likes it. So I want to introduce you to Ross Givens right now. Ross, good to see you this morning. I hope we get some good information from you about all this stock stuff.
Thanks, Barry. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, so I'm going to get right to this because there's a lot of interest with everything going on financially right now. Some people are terrified. Some people are making a lot of money. So you and I talked about this before the show. Everyone from Nancy Pelosi and her $300 million in profit from insider trading down to other less publicized examples of this in D.C. But get everyone up to speed if you could. Tell us just how bad the situation really is.
Sure. Well, I've been tracking this stuff for nearly a decade now. And I think at this point, thanks to Pelosi, as you mentioned, I think most people are well aware that our politicians are cheating the market. Pelosi was, of course, the poster child. And since then, the public's finally started paying attention. We're looking at what stocks Congress is buying. And unfortunately, people's suspicions have been confirmed because these members of Congress, Barry, they're not like beating the market by 2 or 3%. I mean, they're outperforming Warren Buffett. We're talking about annual gains in their portfolio as high as 149% a year. And they're getting this by using information they learn in Washington to make money for themselves. And it's very corrupt. I think the craziest part at this point, that they're still getting away with it. I mean, Pelosi got called out by what? Trump, Elon Musk, half of Congress, every media channel. But look at the numbers. I brought a chart here. These are the top performing members of Congress in 2025. So for folks who don't understand how big the problem is, this is not one stock. This is their whole retirement account last year. 50, 60, 78% from Warren Davidson. I mean, Buffett hasn't done that this century. And you've got members of Congress doing it from their cell phones. It's just crazy. Last year, these guys were 150%. And unfortunately, this is something we're seeing on both sides of the aisle.
And, it doesn't seem like it's going to change whatsoever. I know maybe you can go further into this rule. I'm not sure what the actual number it is, but there's a rule that says they don't even have to disclose their trades for 30, 45 days after they even take place.
Yeah, so around a decade ago, they passed the Stock Act when this was initially seen as a problem, and they were just clever about it, as they always are, because it didn't prevent them from trading. It just said they have to disclose these trades. You were correct. Between, I think it's either 30 or 45 days after the fact. Some do it sooner, but they just have to disclose it. But they don't make this stuff easy to find. You don't go to congresstrades.com. You got to dig through all their little House and Senate databases. And, we've made this process easier. But yeah, it's as rampant as it ever has been.
And just so everybody knows, this is not a partisan conversation. It's happening on both sides of the aisle, because when you put up that chart, there's a lot of blue and a lot of red there. So they can't agree on anything. I'm watching on my monitor the hearing for Tulsi Gabbard, the hearing for Mark Wayne Mullen. They're fighting over the Save America Act, but they somehow seem to be okay with this.
Yeah, they found an issue they agree on, Barry, and that is we should all cheat the stock market to enrich ourselves. So at least there's one unifying thing here in America. No, and I mean, the silver lining to all this, and I'll cover all this in a minute, but as you mentioned, we can track their trades. Some stall 30, 45 days, but you can see what stocks Congress is buying. You can follow along. We can see what stock CEOs and CFOs and the corporate insiders are buying as well. It's why I hold these training events, because I don't think most people know that you can do this stuff. And it's like, yes, it makes your blood boil. Yes, it's corrupt and crazy, but as we've learned, they're not going to stop. You might as well follow along. You mentioned Mark Wayne Mullen, who, I don't know how you feel. I love the guy. I think he's amazing. But I saw an article recently. We were looking through his trades. I don't want to call the guy out. This could be a coincidence, but he went and bought stock in a military defense company called VSE Corporation, and he bought it last month, like 2 weeks before these Iran strikes began. And the stock, as you can imagine, it's shooting up, right? So he's kind of giving some ammunition here right into a hearing, saying, look, Mullen, did you know something, or is this another lucky trade?
They probably won't even bring it up, because a bunch of them sitting there asking the questions probably did the exact same thing.
True.
So for people who may be new to stocks or just not understanding how stocks and these kinds of investments work, can you explain how he would benefit from that type of investment, and why would that company go up because of the war in Iran?
Sure. Well, so VSE, for those who don't know, is a defense logistics company. So they make, parts, maintenance support, aviation, all the stuff the military needs when these wars escalate. So when this happens, as these operations start going out, companies like VSE tend to do more sales. The government, the military buys more stuff. Their revenue goes up. And typically that means their stock goes up as well. So, again, Mullen's buy could be a coincidence, but I mean, The guy didn't buy once, Barry. He bought twice. He starts buying in January, starts buying again on the dip in February. They're 50 grand. And I brought an image here. That chart, those two dots are where he bought. Now, it's only up 15% so far, but hell, it's only been 2 weeks. I mean, who knows this guy's going to make on this thing? So, I don't want to anger anybody with this. The point I want to bring home is that you can follow along with these trades and hopefully use this for yourself.
Now, I just want to make sure everybody knows, we're just going to be fair. This could be let me wink real hard. This could be a coincidence, right? Because it's not the only stock that he bought.
No, it's not the only stock that he bought, but some of the other ones don't look too good either. I mean, he went and bought Raytheon, the big defense contractor. He bought Chevron 4 days before we went into Venezuela and black bag Maduro in the middle of the night. So some of this stuff is just a heck of a coincidence. I mean, you've got the military assuming control of the largest oil reserves on Earth, and Mullen happens to be loading up on Chevron 4 days before. Look what Chevron's done since.
Oh, man.
Maybe he's super lucky, but all these guys in Congress tend to be the luckiest stock pickers I've ever seen.
And when you hear some of them, you can tell some of them aren't the brightest tools in the shed, but somehow they can make 50, 60, 70% return on their investment. Okay,
Isn't that phenomenal?
So let me ask you a question. For people who aren't as familiar with stocks, have no idea what VSE means from SEV, that doesn't really matter what the call signal is. Break it down for the Fanfare family here. Can you walk us through how this works step by step? Because this is your specialty, something you do every single day. You show people how to follow these stock trades and make money for themselves. So I know there's people here who are interested, but the fear of ignorance keeps people from acting.
Totally get it.
So
totally get it.
Tell me about that.
Sure, though the playbook's really pretty simple, all right? So I want you watching, imagine you're a member of Congress. You're sitting on a military or defense subcommittee. So you're on the committee that decides who gets billions of dollars in defense contracts. Now, a lot of those contracts are going to go to the usual players, Lockheed, Boeing, Raytheon, right? But sometimes smaller companies win contracts too that can be worth tens, hundreds of millions of dollars. And when that happens, those little stocks can skyrocket because suddenly they just got $50 million, $100 million in DoD contracts. So if you knew about this contract ahead of time, you knew they're about to get it, what they would do is they go buy the stock before that announcement, before anyone else knows. And then it comes out, the stock surges, and they make a fortune. And so that's what we try to show people. We see this over and over again. That's what we try to show people how to do in these training events. We've got this one coming up this Wednesday on the 25th, 3 Eastern. It's free. It's online. I encourage everyone to come. I think there's a link in your video. But I just show you what these politicians, what these corporate insiders are trading, how to find them, how to follow along, and how to make money. So it's eye-opening. I hope you guys attend.
You said a key word for people. It's free, right?
It is free, yeah. Totally free.
So the only commitment you have at this point is your time to, want to learn. And one of the things I always tell people on my channel is do your own research, fill yourself up with information, and then make an informed decision. Don't just listen to somebody on X or somebody on Facebook or your barber or your hairdresser. Do your own research. So now I would assume that some of these stock trades are more obvious than others. Can you give us an example of one that would have been an easy one for anyone to spot?
This one's one of my favorites, and it just happened last year. I was with Representative Susie Lee. Now, she's a Democrat, if that matters for you, but she also sits on the House Appropriations Committee as well as the Defense Subcommittee, the two groups that decide where that defense spending goes. Now, she bought a stock last year. There's a company called Rheinmetall, which is a small German arms manufacturer. Here's the transaction report she filed with Congress. And what's interesting here is that this is the only stock she bought in over 3 years, the only one. Now, some of these guys are buying and selling all the time. That can be tough. What does he know? What does he not know? This woman never buys. And in 3 years, she buys one stock. And Barry, it's not Apple, it's not Google or Microsoft or NVIDIA. She buys this obscure German arms manufacturer named Rheinmetall. So to me, that's kind of a strange choice. Unless you understand the industry she's in, the committee she sits on, and in less than a year, here's what that stock has done. So 306%. I'm sorry.
306%. So essentially, it quadrupled.
Yeah, four times her money in a year. I mean, the luck, Barry,
Warren
one stock she bought.
Warren Buffett should be calling her at this
exactly.
point.
Yeah,
it's absolutely crazy.
It is not just any one example. I mean, we see this over and over. We had, Representative Blumenauer. That guy was buying defense company stocks the very day Russia invaded Ukraine. So it's the timing on these trades. It's just remarkable.
Is this kind of stuff normal? I mean, how often does this kind of stuff actually happen? I mean, in real life versus like in politics. In politics, is it normal? Because obviously in real life, it's definitely not normal.
No, for you and me, it's not normal. For these guys in D.C., it happens to be another Tuesday. And again, the silver lining of this, because I do this and people are like, you're just making me angry, Ross. I'm like, listen, I understand. But I promise you, if you make 20 grand following along, it's not going to bother you so much. And because we can see the stocks they're buying.
Right.
And we can follow along in our own accounts with our own money and actually profit off of this corruption. And here's the numbers if you want to break them down. Members of Congress last year averaged 33% returns. That's the average. And as you said, some of these guys are, not our best and brightest. Now, for comparison, the overall market did about 16.5%, which is a great year already, but Congress doubled it. And that's average, some 50, 60, 75% returns. Wall Street professionals don't do that well. Yet we have senators placing trades on their cell phone in their Robinhood account, knocking out hedge fund level returns. So it's just too much to be coincidental. Have all these master stock pickers we just so happen to elect.
One thing I always tell people is there's no such thing as a coincidence. It's just information you don't know about. And so one of the things that, I really prided myself on realizing, get to know as much information as possible, because if this keeps happening and it doesn't seem like anybody's going to stop it, what's the takeaway for people who are watching this show right now?
Well, I think you're right. They're not going to stop it. I mean, we've seen 4 or 5 of these bills introduced to ban congressional trading. Miraculously, they never come. When Pelosi was in charge, she introduced a thing at midnight on Christmas Eve or something when nobody's there to vote for it, or they pull the usual trick and tag it to some dog crap bill that says, okay, you want to ban this? Sure. Well, you got to approve sex change operations for Middle Eastern orphans or something. And they say no. The only good side is it's all public information. I mean, members of Congress are legally required. They have to tell you what stocks they buy, when they buy them, how much they invest, which means that we can follow along. We can piggyback the same trades. And so that's what I'm teaching people in the free event. I'm trying to show everybody what's out there. Some people take this, run with it, make tons of money. Some do nothing with it. But I want you to see what's available to you. So, click that link, join us. It's Wednesday, March 25th, 3 Eastern. And I'm going to go step by step through this. There's going to be no jargon. You don't need any experience. I'm going to show you how to find the filings, how to find the most important trades, how to manage risk. And Barry, like I said, this is just the tip of the iceberg, because even more powerful than this are these corporate insiders, right? So you think Congress is good. How good do you think CEOs are that know their earnings? How good do you think the board of a pharmaceutical company is that knows how the drug trials are going, right? I mean, we bought one of those little stocks last year at 40 cents. It quadrupled in 4 months. And the only reason we bought it was 11 people at the company bought it in a week. It's so obvious. Like you...
Good.
Well, they have access to inside information. They just know more than us, right? Yeah. So it's a way to get legal inside tips. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's okay. I mean, I've seen this firsthand. I used to be an exec inside of an advertising agency, and I knew because I got to sit in on meetings that there was something wrong with one of our clients and they were going to lose their CEO because of different problems of infidelity and all. And I knew this was going to hit the news in about, a week to 10 days. I didn't know how to just, hey, listen, I should buy some of this stock because it's probably gonna tank or it can short. And sure enough, I saw it firsthand. I saw people who were in that meeting actually buy or short it, and they made a ton of money. Once you understand how this works, it's honestly eye-opening. And Ross, I just wanted to just go back to something you said. You said you saw a stock that was 40 cents.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't take you $10, $20, $30,000 to be able to do.
Oh, no.
It's completely eye-opening. Once you see this free training, and you're going to see, you guys don't need to have $20, $30, $40, $50,000. It's happening on Wednesday, March 25th at 3 p.m. Eastern, and you can click the description in the bottom of the video and the link, and reserve your spot. But make sure you grab free insider trade right up when you register. Ross, tell me about that, the insider trade.
Yeah, so thank you for mentioning that. So it is online. I know some people may or may not be able to attend at that live session. So even if you can't, we'll send you the recording the next day to be sure you get it. But as a bonus, everyone who registers, we're going to send you our most recent trade recommendation. So it's going to be the stock, the ticker, all the research, which insiders are buying, the stuff we give to our paid members. So you'll see this right out of the gate, both what's available to you, potentially one that can make you some good money. And that 40-cent stock we bought, the quadruple, that was in this report last year when we did this training event. So check that out. Even if you can't come, just put your email in there. If you put your cell phone number in, we'll shoot you a text message like 10 minutes before we get started, because if you're as busy as me, it's easy to forget. But I hope everyone comes. And, as you said, 40-cent stock, $4 stock, it's never been easier to trade stocks. And it seems overwhelming, or it can, the industry, but it costs nothing to open an account. Most of these guys have a $100, $200 account minimum. Right. You can do Robinhood, E-Trade, Fidelity. There's no commission. It's never been easier to trade stocks. It's just, what the heck do I buy? How do I do all this? Like, where's my edge? I don't have an edge. I don't know anything. Well, follow the people that do. Follow the CEOs, follow the politicians, so it's just common sense.
And a lot of it is just complete unknown. You're probably going to go through not only the stocks, but the terminology. What does this mean? What does that mean? And you make it very, very simple for anybody to, take a chance, understand, educate yourself, and do it. It's free. Yeah. It's not going to cost you anything. You can watch the free training and go, nope, it's not for me. Or you can watch 100%. The free training and go, boom, I'm going to do this. So I thank you for coming on today. And I may jump on the training as well, because I know a lot of times if people see that I'm going to be pushing it and get in, they may jump in as well.
Well, come, Barry. I want to teach you something, man. I'd love to get your insights on this. It's been very eye-opening, and most people just don't look at stocks the same way again. So I appreciate you having me on. It's a pleasure to speak with you and your viewers, and I look forward to sharing with everybody this coming Wednesday.
All right. Thank you very much, Ross, for coming on.
Thanks, Barry.